people like to call it different things. Preseason, postseason, off season, whatever you want to call it. Usually after the fall, people kind of get done with their season, so they're kind of more of an off season during, especially during the holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Their holidays are kind of mixed in there, New Year's, all that fun stuff. Some people, like myself, I'm doing Ironman Tulsa, maybe doing Ironman Texas, Ironman St. George. So it's almost more of a postseason slash preseason because once January hits, we're kind of getting more full bore into a full Ironman training plan. So it kind of encompasses all of those a little bit. So it's kind of the in betweener between maybe the end of a race, and then you got kind of a long period or stretch of time that you're going to have in between races before you really start getting ready again. And maybe you've got a race that's kind of late fall. Ironman Chattanooga, Florida, Arizona, got those other races. So you got kind of a period of time where you don't really have a short-term goal, and you don't really want to get right into doing a bunch of volume and high intensity stuff and overload yourself, especially when you got 8, 9 months before a race comes up. So one of the key goals is want to get you better for, and this is my 2019, want to get you better for 2020 is what I'm kind of talking about, especially with this pre-post off season, whatever you want to call it. So getting better for 2020, avoid burnout. Like I said, if you got a long period of time, you don't want to get burnout. Want to add more strength is what we're looking for. We want to improve the fitness. We want variety. A lot of people, especially if you come off a season or maybe you're looking, staring up the barrel, you did Olympic and you want to do a half or a full Ironman, you need some variety because over time, if you just keep doing the same things over and over, you might come burnout. Avoid injuries. That's going to be key, especially in off season. If you're going to add strength and get better fitness, you don't want to get injured. And make it fun. Triathlon's supposed to be kind of fun. So I hate to see people out there kind of make it another job or another chore. So if you're not having fun out there, it kind of defeats the purpose and it really doesn't motivate you to keep going out there. My little clicker here. So a little bit about me. My name is Ryan Falkenrath. I am a coach. I run Seth Bay Triathlon. I do local stuff here in Kansas City. That's where I'm based out of. That's where this is where I'm from. But also I coach athletes everywhere. In addition to coaching athletes, I'm in the triathlon community. I'm a part of Ironman certified coach teams. I'm going to be a regional for 2020. So I'm going to be kind of have my fingers in all different kinds of Ironman events. Background in high school, football, soccer, wasn't really long course endurance type of stuff. I wasn't doing track. I wasn't doing cross country, anything like that. More just, strength training and some running, playing soccer. And I kind of played soccer throughout high school, throughout college, and then really 2004 where I really started getting into endurance events, starting on 5Ks and small sprint triathlons. First marathon 2015 or 2005, take that back. So, it's 2020 now, so that was about 15 years ago. I really got into it. My first full Ironman was 2013, Ironman Lake Tahoe. I really had no idea what I was doing. I finished it like 14 something, and I did everything wrong. I didn't really investigate the course. So I wasn't really. It just looked like a cool venue and someplace to do my first Ironman. That was for sure they did Ironman Lake Tahoe. So learned a lot of lessons from just that alone. 2012, I decided I wanted to kind of get into coaching. So USAT Level 1 Tri Coach, 2015, Ironman University Certified Coach. So I've had that ever since. I keep those up, and those are all current. I'm going to be a local master swim coach here. They opened a new aquatics facility that I'm going to jump into. So Ironman University Certified Coach, team event coaches. I've been on Chattanooga 18 and 19, Florida 18 and 19. As a head coach for Chattanooga for 2019. So really helping the first timers and beginners in that arena. And then this year in 2020, I'll be kind of more regional, overseeing the people that are going to be the head coaches and event team coaches. So to date, I've done 7 full Ironman finishes. I have had some DNFs in my experiences, the half or full level. 13 and a half Ironmans. I've done 10 or 12 marathons. I've reached all world athlete status. I've been bronze and silver. USAT Nationals qualified for the Olympics for 5 or 6 years or something like that. But I'm married. My wife works full time. We've got 3 kids. We got a dog, a cat, and a hedgehog, which is to say that we're very busy. So I do understand, I don't just coach people and write plans and have the blinders on that, triathlon is the only thing in your life. I know that there's tons of other things going on. So I'm coming from that aspect. Right now I am self-employed and I work, at home. So it's a little bit different, but I was full-time day job and doing all this other stuff on the side. So I know how to kind of wedge it all in and shoehorn it in. So specifically, what we're kind of looking at for this talk is over the off season, preseason, postseason, what we're going to call it. Most of the time, I'm calling it off season. So you start at a certain point, and we're going to focus on 2019 because that's the current year, and you want to hit 2020, whatever your races are. So you're starting here. Maybe you had a good 2019, or maybe you did Olympic, and you're thinking, hey, I kind of like the sport. I want to get in longer courses. Or you did a half, and you're like, hey, I think I could do. I want to race a half. I want to get really good and see how fast I can really get competitive with yourself. So you're starting here. So when you start the season, so this line kind of delineates where you're at as far as timing. So say this is you're starting to jump into your race specific training, and this kind of stretch in between this line and where you're at in 2019 is kind of this is your off season. So there's a couple of different ways you can go. You can go hardcore and really hit it, and then be at a good spot when you get your race specific training that you're not really killing yourself when you get there. You can kind of have a nice little incline. You're getting fitness, you're getting your speed up, your VO2, and you're keeping fatigue down to avoid injuries. And then there's a little bit more of a ramp up. What I hate to see is athletes kind of hit 2019 off season and they just kind of like fall off the map. So they're actually kind of declining. Once you go 3-4 weeks or more and you're really not training, you're really not doing anything, you're past the point of actually making gains and you're declining seriously. So I hate to see people get to that point and either try to spike up, really, ramp up in volume and everything and kind of be unsafe about it and potentially cause injuries or burnout or chronic fatigue, or worse, they just kind of hit, the start of their race specific training and they're just kind of like, well, I'm going to do the best I can. And actually their results or their outputs can be a little bit lower than when they ended the 2019 season. I like to see, especially if you're doing this long term, consistency over time. So every year you're kind of building up and up and up and up. So you're building on that fitness every year. So specifically what I want to talk about is these are the kind of my highlights for this off season, post season, whatever you want to call it. So what I'm looking at is we want to create a fitness baseline. So you're doing fitness tests for swim, bike, and run. So at the beginning, you want to find out where you're at, and then you're going to measure it 4 to 6 weeks to make sure that you're at least making progress, maintaining, or what you're kind of doing. Especially if you've never done a fitness test for swim, bike, or run, and you do it the first time, usually that one's going to be a little off. So as you do them, you should get better over time too. But if you don't have some sort of metric to kind of gauge by, you're just going by feeling like, I think I'm faster, I think I got quicker, I think I'm stronger. You can see in the weight room, you do more weights or something, but maybe your times and biking and running outside are a little bit quicker, but without doing some sort of benchmark, you can't really tell. You're just kind of like, yeah, I think I'm there. Swim, bike, run, speed, and strength. So this is not standalone strength workouts. This is specific, hill repeats on the bike or on the run. This is very high intensity water sets in the water, doing with pull paddles, buoys, with fins, doing a lot of this type of work because in this off season you don't have as much volume going on, so you have more opportunities for recovery. So you can hit some workouts a little bit harder than you normally would, and maybe stack them on top of each other a little bit more in the off season. So you don't have to worry about necessarily injury or burnout or chronic fatigue or anything. The other key is going to be recovery and prevention of injuries. This is a big one. A lot of people get to the end of the season, or they're going through their season, doing their training, and you've got little foot injuries, you got IT band injuries, you got lower back is bothering you, your hips are bothering you, just different little things throughout the season. So now's the time to step back and actually kind of address what's going on. And I highly recommend you get in with a sports doctor, physical therapy. Primary cares are good. Maybe they can give you a good reference, but I know in Kansas City, we've got the Chiefs and the Royals. So there's tons of doctors and other outfits that are geared towards them and athletes specifically, because as athletes, we want to keep doing these workouts and doing the training and doing the events. We don't just want to ice it and rest and hope it goes away and treat the symptoms. We want to treat the cause. So find out if you got some major injuries, maybe you have to have surgery. A lot of athletes coming out for that. For me, they had to have surgery in the off season 2019, so we're gradually getting back into it. So I'm doing the best I can in the off season to keep their fitness. But if you have rotator cuff surgery, you can't really get the tools. So there's different things you can do. Remove the reoccurrences. So if you have something that keeps coming up every time you ramp up in volume or intensity, plantar fasciitis, it's okay when it's the off season. I'm not really doing too much. But whenever I start that training up, it just starts there again. Don't treat the symptoms, find the reason for it and get that fixed. So physical therapy, strength work, I have, stuff like this where you're doing strength work, where you're doing band work, and you have a wrap around your legs, and you're doing these little workouts. It's not really pushing hard weights, but it's getting out there and it's doing things that work the fine muscles and the muscles you really need to think about. I always find it funny athletes do these types of workouts. When I prescribe them and they come back and they said, this kind of hit stuff that I never knew existed. And that's the point is when you're doing swim, bike, and run, you're doing it one linear motion. You're not working all the stabilized muscles. So over time, they're going to kind of creep up if you're not using them correctly, and they kind of atrophy after a while if you don't use them correctly, if you don't engage them. Just look up, Lionel Sanders and look up his YouTube videos. He talks all about his injury in 2018 and he went back and did some physical therapy, got rid of his run limp that he had going on. So it's important in the off season to kind of set back. You've got more time, go back, find out what's causing these problems and fix them and address them. And if it's surgery, man, get it done and get it out of the way. If it's like a stress fracture or if it's a muscle tear or something like that just needs time off, take that time off, and maybe you can focus on other things. If it's a foot issue, maybe get in the pool more, use the pool buoy so you don't have to use your feet. There are different ways to work around it. So that's the point of recovery and prevention. Gear, that's a big one for me. So maybe you're out there, you're trying different things. You're trying new shoes, trying new bike shoes. And this is specifically, we're talking about gear, and maybe you need to get fit. So I've got shims on my bike because I have my bike crew come over. We've done several fits for my bike. So make sure that whatever gear you're using and any old gear that you're using, if you're having issues, maybe that's the cause of injury and pain, and you go back and get a fit properly, or you go and see, a lot of running specific stores will have a run gait analysis that you can look to see what kind of shoes work best for you. But, maybe you're looking at different hydration systems for your bike. So you want to test that out in the off season. Is it really good? I don't use this anymore, but some people might. I've gone back to just water bottle and cages on my bike. I used to have the speed fill on the frame. The tube system, it was just kind of cumbersome and didn't really help. And actually didn't result in me drinking the fluids that I needed to in my ride. So I didn't use it. Maybe you want to try out new tires or something like that. Now's the time to put it on your bike and get them out there. And now's the time to go back and do ups on your bike, switch out the tires, change the inner tubes, make sure everything's good to go, because we want to hit the ground running when you get your race specific training. Maybe you're going through, you're doing different types of pedals. Maybe you didn't have clip-on pedals whatsoever. So if you went and tried out some wood pedals and you want cycling shoes, now's the time to do it. Maybe you want to try a new type of bike seat. This came off my Quintanaru. It was stock factory, but in my bike fitting, we actually went to a different style, same kind of nose operation here, but it was a little bit narrower, so it wasn't running on my ear device as much. So I wouldn't have known that unless I got my bike and rode it and had my fitter guy come over. It'd have been something like, well, I'm going to live with this. It's uncomfortable and it rubs on me and it causes muscle strain after a while. Well, I didn't have to. I got a different seat now. It worked perfect. Maybe off season is a good time to check out eBay for all their wonderful deals on eBay. Actually, I found these on the Slow Twitch Classifieds. But maybe now's the time if you want to get race wheels, you want to get them at a decent price. Off season is the time to do it. When people are not in race season, they need wheels and everything, and demand goes up for them. So maybe now's the time to go through and figure out you want to do race wheels and what type and what kind. People are looking to offload their gear from last year. Maybe they're upgrading and maybe you want to upgrade. It's a great time to go out there and really look at gear, new gear and old gear, and make sure you're fit to it. Like bike fits, run analysis, swim analysis, polar immersion clinics for swimming, whatever. If you're doing a training camp or something like that, having a coach or something kind of look at you and record you and that type of stuff. It's like off season, great time for that kind of stuff and tweak your form. Strength work in the off season. So this is where you're getting into just pure, I love like the kettlebell workouts and stuff like that. Like I said, a football background, bench press, squats, man, we did them all. And I still like to throw those in every once in a while. I try not to go too crazy. If you don't do it like consistent basis, you can be pretty sore. But I just sometimes, push around weights and getting all sweaty in the gym is my kind of thing. But, kettlebell workouts, functional strength, flexibility, stability movements. Now's the time to really focus in on that stuff. especially if you're doing shorter workouts. Maybe you can kind of throw in a 15, 20-minute strength session at the end of a bike or a run in the morning or something like that before you head out the door. But make sure you're doing the right kind at the right time. So make sure in your off-season program, you're doing hardcore heavyweight strength training at the right time. You're doing the flexibility, mobility, stability stuff at the right time too. So it's all needs to work together when you're doing the strength training. Just to go out and hit a bunch of weights. I mean, something's better than nothing as long as it doesn't cause injuries or have problems. But just make sure you're doing it right at the right time. Technique. The drills are not the throwaway work. So my athletes, whenever I program their workouts and they see swim drills on there, I think one, you just, Paul, if you're watching this, he just loves the swim drills that I throw in these workouts. I think he classifies them as stupid swim drills, but they're the nuts and bolts of the off season as well. There's bike specific workouts. Maybe you're working different cadence thresholds. You're working high end, low end. You're working different gearing and stuff like that. Especially with Zwift nowadays, you're riding hills and mountains, all climbing, all this other stuff. It's a great way to work on your shifting and gearing when you're going up the hill and make sure you carry that momentum. Just like I said, technique is important. Don't just ignore them, especially in the off season. That's a perfect time. Like I said, it goes back into getting your fit and getting your form analysis done. So getting that technique, especially in the pool, on the run, on the bike, if you're going to mess with things, if you're going to change your form and that type of thing, off season is the time to do it. Gradually incorporate it into your training so that by the time you're ready for your race specific training, you've already done all the work and you're ready to go, and it's not a problem. You're not going to impact when you start adding on volume, because you could potentially cause injury if you go through and you try to change your form and then you add on load and everything, try to change it all at once, and then moving forward, you could actually cause injuries just because maybe muscles aren't used to it. But off season, perfect time to start working on technique and changing forms. Off season is perfect time for off time, break time. So do use this time. You're not swimming, biking, or running. Don't fill it up with, if this all kind of wears you out a little bit, then ignore it and go and focus on rejuvenation. If it's yoga, if it's meditating, if it's spending time with your family over the holidays, where you don't have to be stressed out about getting your workouts in. Go enjoy the holidays. Don't go overboard. We all kind of struggle with, at least I do, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Our family has birthdays in January, and mine comes up in February. If you want to give me a gift or anything, I'm a size 12 running shoe. I'm just kidding. But, find that time to rejuvenate yourself, to get back with the family, get in touch with the people that you'll need their support later on. So if you're not investing in them, they sure as heck won't invest in you later. So those friends that you haven't been in touch with lately, anybody that's not triathlon related that you wouldn't see early swims or bikes, runs on the weekends, that type of thing, now's the time to reconnect with them. Watch a movie with your kids. Watch Frozen 2 for the 500th time with your 3-year-old. Now's the time to do it. The last point I want to make is now's the time to really focus on, because once you start getting the longer distances, or once you want to get better, you want to get faster or something like that, nutrition is one of the key. If you haven't, I've talked about it several times. I'm sure every other video and webinar and coach and athlete, every post you see, nutrition is key. If you don't have that nutrition, especially for the long course, you're going to have problems. So now's the time. If something didn't work for you, now's the time to go back and experiment, change, fix it, find something you like. Maybe it's a factor of supplements. Maybe it's peanut butter jelly sandwiches. You want to try them in T1, T2. Maybe try peanut butter jelly sandwiches on longer workouts on the weekends of your off season. See how it treats you. Maybe have a peanut butter jelly sandwich at 4 o'clock in the morning before you do your morning workouts during the week, just to see how you're going to react with that stuff in your stomach, and go for an easy bike or ride or something like that, or even a swim. So that's important, because you need to find out how you're going to react when you go out there and do a swim. If you're going to eat something 30, 40 minutes, how much time do you really need? Do you need 2 hours before that's really going to cause you problems, like when you're doing a workout? So now's the time to kind of experiment with that stuff. Wake up, have a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and then go to the pool, see how it treats you. I mean, it's better doing that than in a race. But maybe, now it's the time to look at supplements. So I use collagen peptides. This is what I get off of Amazon Prime. I have it delivered monthly. So it's a nice, no flavor. I just add it. I put in oatmeal. I put in my overnight oats. I've even put it on cereal just to get a little bit more protein in there because it's just hard these days. I try to be as whole foods as possible with 3 kids, the busy life we've got going on. I try to sneak it in where I can. I don't go overboard and put in everything, but more things probably than you would think about. The others is, I'm trying out this BPN, Bare Performance Nutrition whey protein, chocolate peanut butter. It was going great until my wife found it, and then she loves it too, and now it's going very quickly. But like I said, I put this in my overnight oats. I put it in my oatmeal, just regular oatmeal. I put it in my cereal sometimes. It's been great. It's just a nice little additive, and it seems to treat me well. It doesn't cause GI problems. So this is something you want to figure out now in the off season. You don't want to figure it out when you're getting close to your race and you're still tinkering around, figuring out what you can eat that will allow you to do your workouts and stuff without GI distress. The other thing, nutrition, when you're in a race, what are you going to do? You use solids, use supplements. Personally, I use UCAN. I mix it in my drinks, on my water bottles, on my bike. So this is something I've been using for a couple of years. I use it in my workouts in the morning. I get my water bottle ready so I can take it with me to the pool or workouts in the morning in the basement. So this stuff has worked great for me for a couple of years. But maybe now's the time you go through and you figure out something else that you want to try or use. So this is the opportunity you have to go and try this stuff without having dire consequences, or being stressed out when you're getting close to your race. You want to figure this stuff out now. But, everything I talked about, I know it's a lot to digest, a lot to process, and you're thinking, well, this seems like a lot more than when I was just doing regular training. But I just want to point out, people come back and say, well, I just don't have enough time to fit all this extra stuff in. Well, it's not necessarily extra work. It's doing the right work at the right time. I've had athletes that did 1 workout a day. Even in an off season, they're not doing 2 days, they're not doing 3 days, they're not going crazy on the weekends. 1 workout a day, and they're still making progress over the off season. It's hitting the right workouts at the right time. It's not just quantity, it's quality over quantity. So it can be done. There is enough time to actually make a difference. I've had a lot of athletes go, I'm just too old. Once I get to a certain point in time, everything's declining. Well, I'm here to tell you, I am 42, turning 43 here pretty quick. And every year I've been able to set progressive PRs, and I'm not pointing myself out. It's not an ego thing. I'm not saying that I am some extra special physical specimen of an athlete, but adjusting my training, adjusting my approach, and continuing to improve in the off season has allowed me to gradually get better and better and better over time. Running a sub 6-minute mile on my threshold runs, I don't know if I can even do that. I don't think I did that in high school. So it's just about being smart and doing the work to get you to that point where you're getting adapted to being uncomfortable. So you're never too old and I've got athletes making PRs and they're 60 years old and they're racing faster than they were 20 years ago just because they didn't have that structure. They race, they train, they race, and in the off season they just kind of piddle fart around and then they try to get back up. And every year they're just getting back to where they were. And then go down and get up. So being thoughtful and mindful and proactive in the off season can continue to gradually get you better over time. I'm not going to say that you're going to shave 20 minutes off your marathon with, one of my off season programs or something, but you can make progress over time, especially if you're even if you're at an optimal performance level, you can still make small gradual increases over time. A lot of athletes, I just don't know what to do. A lot of athletes think it's just about, and there's 2 camps. Volume in the off season, have a solid base, and then you add in intensity and speed and all this other stuff. I'm the opposite. You kind of dial back the volume. You still have your zone 2 stuff, but it's maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. It's nothing crazy. It's not 6-hour bike rides or 3-hour bike rides in the weekends necessarily, but putting the right stuff at the right time. So, I have programs that lay out the workouts, phone calls, all this other stuff, and structure to make 2 athletes better. So this little part right here, when people say to me that I just don't know what to do, I like to make it easy for my athletes, and we'll talk about ways that I can help you make it easier. But if you have the right plan in place, you don't really have to go back and you don't have to Google it, you don't have to search it, you have to do all this other stuff. It can be simplified, it can be straightforward, it can be easy. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into, and that's why I'm kind of did this webinar kind of very quickly. put it out there. I'm focusing on the 2020 season for myself, athletes, everything. Kids are back in school. We're getting very busy. So I set up a off-season program in 2019. I started back in October of 2019, and here we are, January 2020. Time flies. I can't believe how fast it goes, especially when you had kids and everything else in the mix. I remember the days when you'd sit around and Christmas couldn't get here fast enough as a kid. And even my kids now are saying, "Wow, it's already January. Christmas goes by so fast." But I digress. Gotten off the point here. But I've got a program for the 2009 off season, 2019. I put most of my athletes on my one-on-ones, and I've had other people sign up, and it's a good program. And specifically, if you're looking at Ironman Tulsa, Texas, St. George, and other races, getting you ready for that race specific training, because January now you're getting into that race specific training. You're going to start up in the volume, up in the work, and everything. So at this point, the off season work should start paying off when you're getting into the race specific training. But I know there are several athletes. There's still Des Moines 70.3 out there. There's Traverse City. There's Boulder. There's Waco. There's all this other stuff that's in the summer and later in the season. So I want to give opportunity to people. You could still use January. I've got an 18-week plan, I think. Well, it's off-season plan and training peaks, but it's 18 weeks. So that's like 4.5 months. So January, February, March, April, May, and then you roll into race-specific training. So if you got something kind of late summer, early fall, late fall, or something like that, you can still use this. So I want to give everybody an opportunity to jump in there real quick if they want an opportunity to get in there and get something that gives them structure. Takes away all these previous problems. I don't have time. I don't have structure. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of lost. I'm setting this up and leaving it out there. I was going to close it down in December and not mess with it because I want to focus on my athletes and getting them ready for the races and everything. Everything's full bore. But leaving it open till, let's see, today is January 7th. So January 8th, 2020. I'm going to close it down at midnight. And then after that, it'll just be a waiting list. So when I go back at the end of the 2020 season and look at it and polish it up and spit shine it and create a new off-season plan from everything I've learned and all the clinics I go to this year, you can be on the wait list and be first to know. But if you still have some time, you still have January, February, March, then some of April that you still need kind of a, it's an in-betweener between you start your really race-specific training. So you got a plan. You get access to a virtual group. I have 8 different groups. So it's really focusing in like Des Moines, Tulsa, Chattanooga 70.3, Chattanooga, Florida. So it's really talking about those courses, Memphis, the new one, Washington 70.3. Focusing, I'm going to do course analysis and some of those races I'm doing. I'm going to be there in person. So you get access to those groups, weekly emails and group phone calls and stuff. I'm going to go over the courses. You get access to my little memberships. The first 6 months is like for $1 a month. So in that we have additional group calls. So it's kind of more topics that anybody wants to talk about. It's not race specific. Educational videos, fresh workouts, access to all the discounts for all my partners. I'm going to have Saris for they used to be the CycleOps trainers. Quintana, I've got a deal with them. Voco, I'm an ambassador for. Zoot Sports, I'm an ambassador for. So you get access to all that stuff with the membership. You get a little try checklist. This is since I've been, I think it was 2005 I've been doing this stuff. So about 15 years worth of experience. And I've updated this try checklist of what I'm taking to races every year. And every year I change it. It's a live Google document and you get the latest PDF of that. 2018 workout PDF. So you get all the workouts for 2018. It would have been 2019, but this was a 2019 off season. So you get 2018 workouts. The PDF, you can print them all out. There's like 75, 80 workouts on there. You can print them all off and use them wherever you want to. So if you had the off season plan and you're like, I want to mix it up, you can have several different workouts available. One of these nice Set-the-Pace Triathlon hats. We're going to revamp them for 2020, but you can still, there's like 5 or 6 of these left, so get them all, they're still there. You get 52 tips, so I post weekly tips in my Facebook groups, and this is a consolidation of all 52 tips, so you don't have to go through the Facebook page and find them all out. Fitness test protocols. So remember those fitness tests we're talking about? You don't kind of have to wonder, you have to go Google search it. It's got the fitness test, and it's going to have links to calculators, so you can calculate your zones, put them in the training peaks, put them in the Zwift, put them in your Garmin, figure out where you're at and keep track of it. We've got a race day planner. So when you get to a race, it's not just showing up and going to Ironman Village, doing the check-in, drop your stuff off, and then go do the race. There's several other little just minor things people don't even think about when they get there. This is a checklist, so you're hitting every one of them, or at least making you think about it. You get 20% off if you decide you did the off-season plan and you're getting into your race and you like you're drinking the Kool-Aid, you like how I present stuff to you and it makes sense to you, and you want some one-on-one coaching. I have several athletes that get the plans. And the last 2 months leading up to a race, they want one-on-one coaching, so they'll sign up. So if you sign up for the off-season plan, you get 20% off of my coaching. So that's a nice little perk. And then you get an off-season series course via emails. All these little points, I'll go back. Oh no! If only recall my times. So all these points, all these 8 points, there's an email series with videos, with educational information on each one of these. So it breaks it down, dives into deeply. Because if I did this here live, people would probably start falling asleep. Because I could probably go on for about 3 hours in each one of these and dive in deep. But you'll get an email series, so it'll be fed to you. You can get it and save it and check it out anytime. It's always going to be live, so any of the videos you can watch, rewatch, do whatever you want with. So that's kind of nice. So if you want to sign up for this, this is where to go, www.setthepacetriathlon.com, off-season 2019 sign up. At this point in time, we're at $69.99. So you get the off-season plan, with the Training Peaks plan, you get a discount code, and it costs like $5. On the street, it's $100 for the off-season program just from Training Peaks alone. So if you just $70 to join the group, you save there. And then you get access to, like I said, those virtual groups. And each one of those is going to have a race specific plan. And then you get 8% off of that. So it'd be like $5 for that afterwards. So, that alone would help. I mean, basically, if you bought those off Training Peaks as a plan I just made standalone without the off-season program, you're already paying more than what the program would be. But hopefully you see there's plenty of other perks if you sign up for the group. So like I said, I'm going to close it down on 11:59 p.m. on 1/8/20. Now, the chances of me being up at that point in time when I fall asleep at 9 o'clock are kind of limited. So I'll be open at, the 9 in the morning still until I get up and change it. But it's going to be closed after that, and I'm going to add a button you can sign up for the waiting list. So if you see this video later, you hit the page, you're like, too late. You sign up for the waiting list, and you'll be the first one notified whenever I start putting up the newer 2020 off-season plan. And kind of spit polish the program and shine it up a little bit. But this is, like I said, www.setthepacetriathlon.com off-season 2019 sign up. So that's where you can go, sign up for the program. You can get in there. And like I said, you got like a day and a half or so, 24 hours. I'm not going to do the math right now. But you have an opportunity to get in there. So I just wanted to talk about this stuff because a lot of people are always worried about the off season, or always kind of questioning what they should be doing. And like I said, this is the bulk of what I propose to people in their off season. Set a baseline, speed and strength, swim, bike, and run, recovery and prevention. So if you've got to take care of something, take care of it. Don't ignore it. Don't put it off. Oh, it feels better, and then you're dealing with it the next year. Take care of it. Gear, new, make your old stuff fit. Strength, get in there, do the hardcore bench press, squats, whatever. Now's the time to really get into that stuff, especially if you do enjoy it. Like I said, I kind of have that background coming from high school football. I kind of like that stuff. Technique, don't ignore it. Don't just push it to the side. Don't skip it in your workouts. It is a time to take a little bit of a break, a little bit of respite, mental and physical rejuvenation. And then look at nutrition. Come back and say what works, what didn't work. Especially in long course, you're going to have to find stuff that works if you don't think anything will work, because you're not going to be running a full marathon or a full Ironman without some sort of nutrition on board. So find what works. So didn't see any questions posted. So hopefully the audio worked for the entire presentation and you heard everything I said. Otherwise, I just talked for 40 minutes and all you saw was just me moving my lips and pointing to the screen. But if you have any questions, reply back to the email that I sent out with the replay if you signed up, and anything else, just let me know and I'll be glad to help you out. Happy training.